Facebook, YouTube. Good morning, everyone. I'm just going to wait for you guys to trickle on in. Morning, morning. Hope you guys had an amazing weekend. Happy MLK Day. Just going to wait for you guys to trickle in. Today is quieter in the office, so I can get some major work done because it's a holiday. Good morning, Black Wings. If this is your first time tuning in, say good morning. Let me know where you're tuned in from so I can give you a shout out. Lorda Dalek says, I hate the immigration system. Why? Why do you hate the immigration system? Comment and let me know why. Favorite Carrie, good morning, all the way from New York. I know, Favorite Carrie, you're finally catching the live. It's been a while. Good morning. Good morning, Brownie. Good morning, Ibiron Kev Finesse. Luscious from New York. New York is representing today. And Michelle Jem from Brooklyn, New York. Can you travel with a 2-year green card? Absolutely. There's no difference in many regards with a 10-year green card and a 2-year green card. You can definitely travel with a 2-year green card. Yes. Do you work in New York? Yes, we work with clients in New York and in every state in the United States. So let me, I guess, introduce myself and let you know what I do. We're an immigration law firm. My name is Aisha Chido. I represent clients in all 50 United States with their immigration matters. You know, we handle family-based immigration, humanitarian-based cases like VAWA, U visas, T visas, you know, some removal cases, naturalization, fiancé visas, appeals, if your case has been denied, notice of intents to deny, request for additional evidence, and all the gamut. So we're happy to assist, you know, if any of those are something you need help with. Oh, Tina Dowda says, good morning, my attendant. Compliments of the season to you as well. Good morning. Mikkel Tete says, good morning, Attorney Aisha. God bless you for the good work you're doing for immigrants. Thank you so much. Someone has a question. Ibironka says, I had a 1-year prima facie and it expired and I recently, let me go back, it disappeared. I recently got 6 months prima facie in the mail. Does this mean that my VAWA case is close to being decided on? And why did I get a 6-month prima facie? This is actually a very good question. It doesn't mean that your VAWA case is going to be decided on necessarily right away. But generally, everyone that gets a prima facie, your first prima facie is going to be a year. And after that, it's going to be 180 days. So 6-month intervals, 6-month increments. So that is actually normal. Most VAWA cases take anywhere from like 24 months to like 37 months. Realistically. So when you're thinking about timelines, you definitely want to use that as your timeline. You know, if it gets approved earlier, then great, but this is more of a realistic timeline. My phone number here is 407-995-6567. You can also send a WhatsApp to 404-333-8751. All right. Okay. So let's see other questions. Lorda Dalek says immigration is set up for us darker folks to fail. I can't say that I disagree with you, but I think that that's why you have people like myself who is, a Black person and a Black immigrant, as well as many other great immigration lawyers that focus, heavily on darker folks who, a lot of times are kind of like ignored by the larger group. And in advocating for them and making sure that those unconscious biases don't affect their petitions, because we definitely do see that in certain cases and how quickly certain cases get approved or without questioning certain things, whereas certain other cases, when they're from certain other countries, is a little bit more challenging. So that's why, honestly, I'm fulfilled when I'm able to get a lot of our complex cases approved, or get clients who basically didn't have a choice, or didn't feel like anyone could really understand their perspective or where they were coming from, to get their cases approved. But, one thing I will tell you is that America is actually one of the most generous countries when it comes to immigration law. You just need to understand the law and what is beneficial or what is helpful to you, because many countries do not even do a sliver of what they do in the United States. And this time right now is a really good time for immigration and immigrants. I don't know what's going to happen, after the election, and who's going to be in office and what they're going to decide. But right now is a good time, believe it or not. I filed my marriage-based case 6 months ago, and I still have no work permit. I'm sorry to hear that. Most work permits take 4 to 9 months, so you're still in a normal processing window. So hopefully you get it quickly. Faceless, I have an office in Atlanta. I'm sitting in an Atlanta office, but we definitely represent clients all over the U.S. With their cases. How long after filing would it take to get a work permit if married to a U.S. citizen? I just answered that one. That's 4 to 9 months. What is a good phone number for USCIS? How do I get to speak with an agent? Calls never go through. I don't know the number by heart, but I'm sure if you Google it, you can find the number. Generally, some things that you could say to try to get an agent on the phone. You can say lost receipt, need to reschedule biometrics, info pass. Those would typically get you to a real life person, although sometimes you might have to wait for about 30 minutes, but those are generally helpful. Gabrielle says, can I file for VAWA outside of the United States? Absolutely. You can file for VAWA outside of the United States as long as you can show that the abuse took place in the United States, or that the person that abused you was part of the U.S. military outside of the United States. Okay? All right, let's see what else. Real Fuego Chico says, good morning, look amazing. Thank you so much. You're so sweet. I live in Houston, Texas. Can you work on my case? Absolutely. We have a lot of clients in Texas, a ton of clients in Texas. Okay. Okay, let's see what else we have here. Stephen Youngboy, good morning from Orlando. 21 Shami says, I have an important question to ask. You can go ahead and ask your question. What is the best settlement in my divorce for immigration 10 years, green card later? I absolutely don't understand that question. What do you mean, what's the best settlement? I don't know what you're asking me. So if you can just be a little bit clear, I will be able to answer that. Okay. Are they still waiving interviews? Yes, they're still waiving interviews. The criteria is just vary depending on your immigration history, what you submit, and if it's easy for them to make a decision without having you scheduled for an interview. One thing that I've always said, and I'm saying again, guys, this is an election year. 2024 is the year that if you've been sitting on this stuff, get your stuff together. Get your stuff together, because come January, we don't know what's going to happen. So do what you need to do. I will tell you, though, that prior to the last 4 years, this was unheard of. Like in marriage-based cases, they don't waive interviews for those cases. So this is as good of a time as any, for you to do it. Okay. Michael says, I've been watching your videos on T Visa. My challenge is I don't have any hardcore evidence until I may end up getting deported. If I file the T Visa, what can I do? First thing is to schedule a consultation, and then we can talk about it to determine if you're actually eligible. That would be the first start. Okay. I just got a letter for proof of good character as a VAWA applicant. Could this be a good thing? What that means is that they don't have any evidence to show that you're a person of good moral character, and most likely they can't even give you a prima facie determination letter. So if you got a letter, you definitely want to respond and provide proof of good moral character, so you can at least get a prima facie before they start the rest of the review of your case. Is it normal for an I-130 and I-485 interview to be scheduled at the same time? And will it be 2 interviews? Apolloni, that's a really good question for someone that has not been through the immigration system at all. But actually, it is. That's actually the normal way it's done. If you file a concurrent filing, meaning when you file an I-130 and an I-485 at the same time, it is normal that your interview will happen at the same time. So it's not that it's 2 interviews, but the same officer would ask you questions about your good faith marriage, which really is so they'll ask you about the marriage, but so which really is the I-130 portion of the application. And then once they finish that, they'll start asking you questions about the I-485, like, have you ever been arrested? Have you ever violated the conditions in your non-immigrant status? Have you ever worked under the table? Have you ever been deported? So that portion is your I-485. So it's kind of combined into one, and they make the decisions simultaneously. Sometimes you'll have a case where they can approve the I-130, but they can't approve the I-485 for whatever reason, or they need something else. In those cases, they'll approve the I-130 and then send you a letter explaining why they can't approve the I-485 yet. Okay. I found out I've been given USCIS a wrong date of birth of my dad. Month, day, and year are wrong. It depends on what kind of case you have. Depending on what kind of case you have, you can do like a typographical error and submit that on the e-service. If not, you probably would need to write a letter just with the corrected information. If it is like a marriage-based case where you get an interview, you could also amend that at your interview. What if I just got married and the person just started working? Should I still apply? I mean, it's up to you. So the time when you got married does not really determine whether you can apply or not apply. Really, what they're looking at is, do you have a good faith marriage? Is your marriage legitimate? Can the person sponsoring you, even though they just started working, meet the income requirements to file for you as a sponsor? So those are the things that they're looking for. Jayon says, after getting approved for VAWA, what's the wait time to receive the actual green card? I'll say anywhere from 1 to 6 months is average, and whenever I say average, it means that there are going to be some cases, that would fall in the middle there, and sometimes some may not, depending on what they need from you. But most people I would say 80% of people will fall in that range. VAWA work permit is 2 years or 5 years. 5 years right now. What age can a child file for a parent? 21. So the child has to be 21 and a U.S. citizen to file for a parent. A green card holder child cannot file for a parent. Okay, green. I got married 5 months ago, but I haven't submitted any paperwork as of yet. Will there be any problem with that? There will not be any problem with that. You can submit your paperwork whenever you want. It's up to you. But I definitely highly recommend you consult with a lawyer. Let's see and make sure that you have everything that you need before you submit. There's nothing more painful than when someone comes to us after they've submitted something that they can't retract or take back. It's always good to review and make sure that there's nothing that's going to potentially affect your case, before you submit it. Okay. Marcus says, I applied for VAWA I assume that's November 2022. I got my prima facie in January. I had a previous application and my spouse canceled his sponsorship, so I sent it a new I-485. When will the work permit come under C9? If you did write C9, it should come under C9, so that's how you determine what it would come under. Liz Silver says, I'm trying to call, but I need someone there to translate. we have, what language do you speak? If it's Spanish or Creole, we have someone here that can translate for you. Famara says, why does a travel document take more than 6 months? Girl, your guess is as good as mine. I don't know if you're female or male. I don't know. You know, you have to ask immigration that. I didn't receive my renewal work permit as of yet. I put in the new one. I put in for the new one since September, I'm assuming 2023. Can I continue to work? The determination of whether you can continue to work is whether or not you sent in the renewal before the deadline. If you sent in the renewal before the deadline, you can continue to work depending on, excuse me, what class your work permit or application is, because your receipt acts as an extension. And don't quote me on this, but my recollection is that prior to November or end of October, they were extending that for almost 3 years. And then they reverted back towards the latter part of the year to a year. So technically, without knowing you or your case, if you fall into that category where you submitted your renewal before the expiration, you have an extension, and you fall into one of those classes that is qualified for an automatic extension, your receipt acts an extension, and you can continue to work with the receipt and the expired green card. Okay. What can one do if an I-360 was approved 2 years ago and the I-485 is still pending? That's a really long time. We definitely want to seek some guidance in getting that case moved up to see what's going on. Call my office. Let's see what's going on. Once I do my own independent research to see, well, why could your case be delayed? The next thing we can look at is, consular processing, seeking assistance from the ombudsman to see, if they can help push the case. Is your abuser a U.S. citizen or a green card holder? Are you waiting for visa availability? So there are many different variables, but I would need to understand like your case to kind of give you some guidance. Okay. What will happen to my I-130 if I apply for VAWA? Nothing will happen to your I-130. They're two separate applications. One doesn't cancel out the other. So if you're applying for VAWA because you have an abusive spouse and you already had the pending case, you can always withdraw the I-130 if you want to. Or if your spouse chooses to withdraw that, it doesn't affect your other case. Okay. Is it possible to get a 10-year green card before a 2-year marriage? Not based on marriage. So if it's based on marriage and you haven't been married for up to 2 years at the time they approve you, you will get a 2-year green card. There are other ways to get a 10-year green card, but it's not going to be based on marriage. For instance, like if you're submitting a VAWA application, it's going to be a 10-year green card. But to be honest, most VAWA cases, it's going to take you at least more than 2 years. So, it kind of cancels itself out. If you're getting your green card through your parent or your children, those would get you 10-year green cards and stuff. If I use you for my case, can I do a payment plan? We, depending on what kind of case, we have payment plans, depending on what kind of case you have. I'm a citizen through marriage, VAWA. I found out I've been stating the wrong age for my dad. Now I want to file for my dad. How can I correct his age with USCIS before filing? Or can I file with the correct age? You're going to have to submit proof that that's your dad, like, with your birth certificate that lists your dad, depending on if he was on your birth certificate when you were born, or if he legitimized you before the timeline that was required. At that time you can put the correct age, and then if it comes up, then you can explain. I don't know how drastic or how different the the date of birth is, but there are many times when clients don't even know the date of birth of their parents, where we have to put unknown in the application. I work on a cruise ship and want to start my green card process. Will I be able to work on the ship while they process the green card? Yeah, but I want to mention something, Hito Boy, because I don't, you saying you work on the ship. What kind of visa are you on? Are you on a crewman visa or what? Because sometimes, when you're on a crewman visa, you can't adjust your status in the United States if it's through just a regular marriage. So it all depends. We'll need like a consultation so I know exactly how you're planning to process your green card. Yeah. Okay, I'll take 2 more questions. I'm waiting on my 10-year green card. 4-year extension already used up. 1 year. I'm currently due to file my citizenship. If I file for VAWA now, will it lengthen the process? Black Wings definitely need a consult because from what I'm understanding from what you wrote, you're a 2-year conditional green card holder and you already filed for your joint removal of condition and it's been about a year and now you're considering filing based on extreme cruelty, not necessarily VAWA, but based on extreme cruelty. If that's the case, I'm not sure if that's what you're asking, but we'll definitely love to screen you to make sure that you're actually eligible for citizenship. But what's going to happen if my analysis of what you're asking me is a question, they're going to basically interview you at the same time for both. Okay. Is it okay for one not to get her prima facie determination letter after filing for 13 months? No, you should get your prima facie or find out why you've not gotten one. All right, one more question. I live in Florida and I'm moving to New York next month. Can I file for citizenship right away? No. Once you do move to New York, you want to wait at least 3 months of residency in New York before you can submit your citizenship application. Okay. I will not be able to go on live tomorrow. I have jury duty and I don't know if I'm going to get selected or how long I'm going to be there. So I'm not going to be live on Tuesday. I might come live on Wednesday, depending. I think I have an interview with one of my clients. I got to check my dates. I'm mixed up right now in my head. But I hope you guys have an amazing day. If I didn't get to your question, please call us and schedule a consultation if you have an immigration need. I saw someone commenting there saying that I skip questions. I don't skip questions intentionally. I don't even see your questions as you type. Other people are typing, so it's moving up, so I can see every question. And this is Augustine Marie. If you are a client, you can definitely email us. Send me an email, Aisha@chidolaw.com, and ask me the question. But I don't intentionally skip questions. If I can't see the question because it's going, I don't see it, and I just keep going. All right, I hope you guys have a great day. Bye.